do justice. Justice is a verb, not a noun. You do justice. You do justice. You do justice. You do justice. Understand that the history of social movements in America have been multiracial, multi-gendered, I don't care. The NAACP started not by African Americans, but by a group of former abolitionists, well-thinking white folk, and black people who came together after a massacre in Springfield, Illinois, and the anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. They said, we got to do more and do better. Understand that in the seminal case of Mendez versus Westminster, it is a Latina girl, Sylvia Mendez, living in a house that is only vacant because a Japanese family has been moved out because of Executive Order 9066, who then decides to call a white Jewish lawyer, David Moore, to come in and fight the fight with him. They lose in the California Supreme Court, but then Thurgood Marshall from the NAACP steps in, and then we get to Mendez versus Westminster in California, and then we get to Brown versus Board of Education. I don't care what movement it is. Historically speaking, the only change we've had is when we stick together. Lastly, walk in righteousness. Walk in righteousness. What is righteousness? It is not a religious concept, but it's the righteousness of the struggle, of the people you serve, of the mandate that you've been called, of the price you owe, that you owe, that you owe, that you owe, that every one of us owes to the history of folk who couldn't get where we've gotten to the history of folk who couldn't walk in the doors that you frequent every day, to the history of people whose voices have been silenced historically over hundreds of years. We owe, so we walk in the righteousness and beauty of this new struggle. Lastly, as you move forward and as you do what you do, as you move, this is a historic time period and year. You got to do it. You got to do it. Somebody here is sitting in this room. You got to be the one who raises your hand and says, me. It's me. Somebody's got to raise their hand and say it's now. Somebody's got to raise their hand today. I thank you, NEA, for being who you are, but remember your legacy. Speak truth, do justice, walk in the way of righteousness. I'm out, y'all.
Can you empower someone else? We are creating now.
Give it up, Dr. Daniel Walker. Dr. Walker, thank you. You've been to church. All right?